Good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning. Good morning, universe. Good morning, YouTube. Good morning and happy Friday. Hey, Gordo. Hey, Boo, what's going on today? All right, y'all, we about to get right into it. I got two sections to read, and then I got work to do today. I get to work from home, so yay. All right, we are going to read essays 9 and 10 in our 5-minute mindfulness. We know that all of the walking references in here are able to be correlated to any area of your life in general, but this book specifically is for walking. But I've already turned walking into riding my bike or, just being in every state of humanity. All right, so essay 9, walking in nature. Walking in nature places affects us walking in natural places affects us differently than moving through man-made surroundings. A forest or meadow untouched by human design plugs into something uncomplicated in the mind and heart. They speak to us, not in words or ideas, but by reflecting something in us we've forgotten. Simple presence. They invite mindfulness, simply being aware without thinking, planning, or worrying. They cue us to look and see differently with openness, wonder, and the curiosity of a child. Encountering a tree, if we're mindful, we perceive its essence, its unself consciousness, treeness. It's not trying to please us, and it isn't wishing it were somewhere else, doing something else. Each tree, hill, weed, and bumblebee, being just what it is, can be a mentor, guiding us to discover our own essential nature. Just movement, breath, and awareness. Mindfully walking, we're simply being what we are, doing what we do, and noticing what we notice. Flowing with the go. Walking in a natural place, we can use the rich details of our surroundings to cultivate mindful attention. As we walk, we direct our focus toward the shapes and textures of the path, the colors of foliage, the feeling of wind or sun on the skin. We guide the mind toward becoming absorbed in each sensory element we encounter, lingering on it, noticing each aspect of shape, light and shadow, color, sound, sensation, and smell. As we move, notice that the places we encounter morph and change shape as our perspective changes. In this way, we experience not fixed things, but a flow of sensory input, constantly shifting, new impressions emerging as others fade and disappear. The moss covered boulder becomes a stream of changing images as we see it anew with each step. Standing still to notice a scene in front of us, here too we perceive the pulsation of life. As the light shifts, leaves move in the breeze, and clouds amble overhead. This parade of ever changing experiences reflects the reality of impermanence, the changing nature of life and the world. Finding balance in the flow of life changes, going with the flow rather than resisting it, is one of the main principles of mindfulness. Good morning, happy all day. Hey, sunshine. I haven't seen you in a minute. Good morning, sunshine. Good morning, learning. Good morning, sunshines. Our practice also helps us to see how we create stress by expecting people and things to stay the same and becoming frustrated when they change. Mindfulness, on the other hand, is finding stability in the steady awareness that watches the flow. A rushing stream or the sounds of the wind are idea objects of mindfulness and impermanence. Bringing attention to the sound of rushing water, we perceive it isn't a single sound, but an unfolding chain of sounds. From one perspective, the stream is a thing, from another, a process. Mindfully observing, we take in this paradox, allowing it to enrich our experience of our walk and our life. walking small amid the grand, sharing moments. When the vastness of the planet reveals itself, walking is a powerful experience, more so if the mind is present. Walks in the Sierra, Rockies, and Himalayas have shaped me in ways that are hard to quantify. Taking in the magnitude of these wild places, each just a chunk of the earth, perspective on human incarnation shifts. Walking, when we experience how it takes to traverse even a sliver of the vastness, the difference in scale between a human body and the body of the planet is revealed in each step. Our conventional view is dislodged. We see the world and our problems in a different light. In the Okay, I ain't never heard of this mountain, child. I'm about to try to say this word. Okay, wait, I gotta look at it first, y'all. I think it's Tysonese. I've never heard of it. Oh, girl, I gotta Google that. In the Tysonese Mountains in Switzerland, a wild, sleepy backwater in the Alps, my wife and I took a wrong turn. We had set out from the exquisite mountain Kopana or hut to cross a steep, short route of perhaps 9 miles. It was supposed to be a Wait, I lost my concentration, child. Oh, it was supposed to be a walk over a little toe of the beast. Instead, we tumbled deep into the belly, crossing a high pass by a snowy route. I misread the map, sending us off course. It took hours to realize my mistake. By then, we were committed to crossing a huge rock fall, an unthinkably immense pile of boulders. Stepping from one boulder to the next in a trance, we knew crossing was our only chance of finding a trail marker. Each new horizon showed only more boulders. The mind could not digest the scale of it. It was impossible to overlook. We were tiny and relatively powerless in this vast place. It was fascinating, thrilling, and frightening, sobering, like a question that kept asking, what's most important in this life? It's one of the many gifts of crossing great wild areas on foot. Known references and illusion of control are stripped away. That's all I was thinking about. Like, can you imagine getting lost in a space and you have no control over the environment and all you can see is just more and more and more of emptiness? Oh my goodness. If we walk with mindfulness, it's an invaluable chance to look in the mirror and reflect on how one is living. Connecting to nature. With mindful walking, we know we're doing more than just moving our feet. We're purifying the mind of unhelpful patterns, a step at a time. Each step liberates us from the past. Some Buddhists call this purifying karma. With every stride, if we are present and engaged, we also create something new, like placing a little pebble on a pile. Each mindful step accumulates inner presence. Over time, the pebbles form a mound, someday a mountain. The steady, mountain like nature in us is called equanimity. Make it part of your practice to affirm this cleansing, creating effect in each step. As we walk in nature, we can draw on archetypes we see: trees that are tall but rooted, a vast and open sky, unharmed by storms, water that flows easily around obstacles to inspire and shape our character. Invoking elements of nature reminds us that we are of nature, creatures nurtured by the earth and deeply connected to its natural intelligence and resilience. Nature, in a few words. As you walk, try a simple mantra to invoke elements of nature and emphasize your nature connection. Walking, I flow easily around obstacles. As I am moving, I carry stillness in me. There is plenty of space inside me for anything I might feel. I am moving forward, knowing I am already where I need to be. I accept each moment and each step as it is. As you walk, be aware of what's moving the body: people around you, birds flying, cars driving. Bring attention to the qualities inside that you are cultivating, the inner resilience of the tree, stream, sky, or mountain. The mind is drawn to this rich presence inside and soothed by it, even when you're surrounded by busy and noisy activity. This is your inner resource, and it is always with you to connect to wherever you go. The radiance of empty space. In some Buddhist teachings, the mind is defined as emptiness itself. Thoughts and sensory impressions occur in that empty space, and awareness is there, witnessing each one. Conventionally, an empty space may be considered sad, but in the Buddhist view, it is neutral, radiant, free of troubles. In this practice, we'll explore this perspective and notice how it affects us. Find a peaceful, natural setting and begin by standing in a place in which you can pause for a few moments. Close your eyes and firmly root your feet, unlocking the knees slightly to engage the leg muscles. Hold the body upright, but not rigid. Soften the shoulders, arms, and hands. Invite any muscle tension in the face to soften. Allow the belly and rib cage to be flexible and responsive, expanding and contracting as the breath comes in and out. Imagine or visualize that the inside of the body is an open, uncluttered, and infinitely spacious place. Invite the breath to flow fully into that space. Breathe in a relaxed but full way, expanding and contracting the torso, not straining. Focus on experiencing your body as spacious inside. Slowly open your eyes, keeping awareness focused on the inner space by keeping your eyes unfocused. Slowly begin to step as you keep the breath flowing fully. As each sensory experience happens, the sensations of stepping, the seeing of objects, hearing of sounds, imagine each one being received into the empty space inside, where it is fully known and absorbed. Think of yourself as both the empty space and the awareness that notices what is received there. Try not to form an opinion about anything that's received, focusing on being neutral space, like the air that receives the falling raindrop without opinion. Pause, stand still, and notice how the practice affected you. Remember that you can return to this spaciousness anytime by softening around the ribs, breathing fully, and bringing your attention to the space inside. Essay 10. Walking mindfully in the city. It can feel quite lonely and isolated walking mindfully in a city or other busy place. You might feel like you're the only person within 1,000 miles who is even slightly interested in meditation. Surrounded by cascades of frenetic activity, your mindful walk can feel like a drop of water in an ocean of craziness. You may become discouraged or doubtful. Thoughts tell you you're making a fool of yourself or wasting your time. This is an encounter with the hindrances, the obstacles that inevitably arise in practicing mindfulness. Such difficulties on the path are symbolized by mud or manure, and mindfulness practitioners teach that the lotus blossom, freedom, well being, and happiness blooms in this mud. As Buddhist monk Thai Nhat Hanh says, no mud, no lotus. With growing wisdom, we meet the obstacles we encounter in hectic urban spaces with a knowing smile, understanding that if we don't struggle in response, each obstacle reinforces our inner well being. Riding waves in the city. Walking in an urban environment, a flood of sounds, sights, and smells washes over us. As traffic rushes past, we nearly collide with a man walking toward us, his eyes glued to a mobile device. Our mind is fragmented, and it's easy to become irritated. Listen, when I be on my bike and people be on their phone, paying no attention, or hogging the sidewalks, or walking, and like it is really frustrating. Like you hear bikers, and then they can't hear you because they got earbuds in, and then I'll be like, "But girl, you got earbuds in too." Child. Sometimes it feels like the uproar will curl the hair. These are perfect conditions for mindful walking. We don't need the serenity of a temple to practice. As we have seen, a key part of mindfulness is letting go of resistance and trying to control, recognizing that often there's no way to bring quiet and order to what's going on around us. Frenetic surroundings don't have to jolt us into internal chaos. Our practice is finding the eye of the hurricane inside of ourselves. Feeling moved. To be the witness is to be present and attentive without struggling, reacting, or fighting. But we do not become uncaring. We may be greatly moved by beauty or tragedy or ugliness on our walk through streets or in city parks, but we don't get swept away by reacting to the tumult or trying to subdue it. You can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. Our breath leads us to a steady place inside. Bringing attention to each inhale, we drop into the non reactive observer in us, the part of the mind that's just witnessing the waves crashing over us. As we walk mindfully through hectic streets, we coach ourselves to let go and allow things to be, whether we enjoy what we meet or not. We let it all wash over us, including our reactions, feeling what we feel, riding the waves of experience. Focus and attention in a busy space. Each moment we're walking in a city, we're receiving reams of sensory input to sort through. Even sitting in a quiet room or walking in a harmonious meadow, there's a fire hose of sights, sounds, smells, and sensations to contend with. And then there are our nonstop thoughts. It's no surprise attention and focus are challenging. To avoid being endlessly distracted, we learn to manage less the input and more where we put our attention. This simple mindful walking practice illustrates this. Begin a slow, steady walk, aware of all the things that vie for your attention through each of the senses. Notice that thoughts frequently appear too. Walk for a moment or two, making no effort to control your attention. Let it just drift from one thing to the next. Have compassion for yourself and others. The cornucopia of distractions is formidable, and the untrained mind is helpless as a baby. Then begin to direct attention to your feet, focusing on how each step feels. Notice not just the step itself, but the qualities of it. Is it comfortable or uncomfortable? Is the contact with the ground soft or hard? Notice carefully the sensations and movements of the feet stepping without adding words in your mind. Expect your focus to be unsteady with thoughts frequently distracting you. Turn back to the feet each time you've lost focus. Now, begin to add the words right here and right now as each foot makes contact with the ground. This occupies the thinking mind and beats it at its own game. Walk Repeat the words and be aware of things getting simpler. There will still be lots of background noise, including your own thoughts. No worries. You don't need to eliminate the sources of chatter and distraction. Rather, you're practicing a habit of simplicity and focus in your mind's foreground. The background will always be busy. Control of attention comes through consciously choosing what's in the foreground. Tethered to simplicity, one of the first goals of mindful walking is to steady the mind to create a sense of stability inside. Walking in a busy or urban place, this can be especially hard. Try using simple cognitive cues to help create a pattern of internal simplicity and mindfulness. Since busy places can overstimulate us and get our attention bouncing wildly from one thing to the next, we are going to use another simple series of words to occupy the thinking mind just enough that it can't run off too far on a tangent. It's one of the reasons many religious traditions use prayer recitation or mantras to focus, steady, and purify the mind. We'll borrow from that tradition in this practice and add a 5-word phrase developed by Kripula School of Yoga or Kripalu School of Yoga. As you begin your mindful walk, invite the body to be upright, firmly engaged, but still relaxed and flexible. Make your movements as smooth, balanced, and unhurried as you're able without trying too hard. Move with ease and grace. Allow your attention to drift outward to take in your surroundings, but stay attuned to the body, checking back every few moments to notice movements. Once you're moving in a reasonably balanced way and are flowing between noticing the external and the internal, add a simple phrase to invite simplicity in the mind. As you walk, silently say, breathe, relax. With each step or two, the relax is a cue to let go of any unhelpful muscle tension, like tightness in the face, hands, or shoulders. Continue walking and try lengthening the phrase to breathe, relax, feel, watch, allow. Over 5 or 10 or more steps, let the phrase be a thread to which you stay loosely tethered as you walk. Breathe, relax, feel, watch, allow. Its repetitive nature invites a trance like experience, but one in which we're present, attentive, content, and at ease. The mundane to the mystical. One of the gifts of mindful walking is the bridge it can create between the mundane and the mystical. As the mind grows more contemplative, we investigate things around us with new curiosity, learning to observe thoughts. We hold our self concerns with more perspective and experience ourself as something greater or perhaps lesser, presence or empty space itself. As a taste unfolds on the tongue, we know ourself as simply the awareness in which the taste is experienced. Sounds come to our ears, and we're the awareness through which sounds are experienced. As mindfulness attunes us to cause and effect, we see connections all around with new eyes. Walking through a city, we're more aware that we inhale the oxygen that the trees lining the streets exhale. We're conscious of the fact that in farms out of town, the soil's nutrients feed plants, which feed us. We understand the passing truck carries our food to the supermarket and that everything we purchase there will end up back in the planet. We've known this intellectually before, but awareness of this interconnectedness now starts to become more of an intuitive, lived experience. Our view of the body also begins to evolve. Catching a glimpse of our face reflected in a store window We no longer take the face so literally as who we are. Looking more deeply, we see it merely as wrapping paper. Y'all, I call our bodies, what's that? What do I call them? Oh, why can't I think of it right now? Avatar. We're avatars. I feel like avatars on the screen, this little avatar I got on the screen. Our bodies are avatars that we get to manipulate and change to how we see or conform to. We are like wrapping paper, which is the avatar. We're not the face or skin anymore. Then we are the intestines or the kidneys. The body is not who we are. We're in the body. With a sense of wonder, we experience our consciousness animating our body. We see our body as the lantern holding the candle. And as we're increasingly aware of the interconnectedness of life forms on the planet, we may wonder if our own conscious mind shares a source with the intelligence of the flower that somehow knows to turn toward the sun. In mindful walking, these questions simply arise of their own accord. You don't even need Pink Floyd on your iPod to take you there. All right, I was only going to do two today, but I'm going to do the last two so that I can get this book finished. So I am going to do essay 11 and essay 12, and then we're going to be finished with the book because I was able to get those done in 30 minutes. So thank you guys for sticking with your girl this morning, and we're going to finish this book today. We are on essay 11 of 12, and this is mindful walking in everyday life. As mindful walking becomes more familiar, we create moments of practice in everyday places, like when stepping from the desk to the photocopy machine. A few brief steps of attentive awareness reinforce the mindful approach for encounters with coworkers, our children, our partner, or other interactions in which we need to be skillful. Mindful walking transitions from an exotic thing done in special meditative experience to something woven into the daily routine. I was able to go live today learning because I went into the office yesterday. I got to wait, let me because I can't stay focused. So I was able to go into the school yesterday. I went and picked up my badge and I met the principal there and she gave me a tour of the building, the office spaces and all the classrooms and stuff. So I was really there. Even though today is supposed to be my first day, yesterday I might as well have just went to work. Um, so my drive is, child, I haven't been inside of a space in 3 years. It was just so interesting. And I was like, oh my goodness. Then we started talking about the monkeypox, girl. Like, girl, is we still gonna have school this year? Because it's real. Biden said something about it. It's girl. So she told me I could work from home today and I got a bunch of documents to look over. And I just dropped off some stuff yesterday. So yes, I'm able to be live today. Yay, 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 yay. And yay, I was excited. So yeah, but girl, I done started. I started. And then listen, y'all. No, I'm not gonna tell y'all that story. I'm gonna keep it to myself. I'm gonna keep it to myself because I gotta be, I am a for the kids kind of a educator. But since I'm an assistant principal, I gotta be for the adults too, because the teachers, they matter. Their lives matter. Their concerns matter. So I got to learn how to mindfully care for the adults. I really have never had to do that because it's always been about the kids. So I'm going to be learning. This is going to be a real big learning curve for me. Child, excuse me, you guys. I got to get a sip of water. Listen, it's. Let me see. Let me Google. What did Biden categorize it at? Let me Google real quick. Um, Biden administration declares monkeypox a public health emergency. Public health emergency. There are states that have declared it an emergency. He's made it a federal emergency. So will we shut? I don't know because this is able to be spread. This is not just putting on a mask anymore. I'm like, if I gotta go into a building and this little kid's there and I gotta touch, like, little kids like to touch you, girl. They like to touch all the things. And I be liking to hug the babies. And I'm like, girl, this is not gonna work. It says amid growing calls from health officials across the country, the Biden administration declared the current outbreak a public health emergency. So could it be? I believe it absolutely could be. And we don't know yet. I just don't think we know yet. So hold tight. Girl, if it ain't one thing, it's another in this country at this point. Like we can't win for losing. Thank you, Learning. I'm glad to be here for sure. Good morning, we on lock. Yes, I enjoyed it. I wasn't able to stay for the entire time, but I enjoyed the time I was there yesterday. If I can ever catch you, I'll be there for sure. All right, so I'm gonna start over. We are going to finish this book and get through essays 11 and 12. So this is 11. I'm starting it over. Mindful walking in everyday life. As mindful walking becomes more familiar, we create moments of practice in everyday places, like when stepping from the desk to a photocopy machine. A few brief steps of attentive awareness reinforce the mindful approach for encounters with coworkers, our children, our partner, or other interactions in which we need to be skillful. Mindful walking transitions from an exotic thing done in special meditative experiences to something woven into the daily routine. These miniature mindful walks in your home, office, in stores, and other places lets the power of mindfulness go viral. We notice the observing mind in the background wherever we go, and little miracles happen. Old patterns of behavior don't happen as automatically as before. Small but important victories occur in which we don't take the bait and we ignore an urge that would normally rule us. A thread of awareness is now present in more encounters, and increasingly we're able to choose rather than react. Learning says, I heard they are making it difficult to get the smallpox vaccine. I don't know. I, I listen, I'm tired. I feel like after these last 2.5, 3 years, like it just needs to go away. All of it. Just make it stop. Like it's only supposed to happen once every 100 years. I feel like we had our turn. Our generation, this generation gap age, whatever we doing right now, like we had our experience. Leave us alone. Let the next 100-year people experience the next thing. Like it's just too much. Oh my goodness. All right, emotional rescue. On each mindful walk, we meet someone on the path, ourselves. I'm going to say that again. On each mindful walk, we meet someone on the path. You meet you. Each moment of practice sees us develop a new kind of self attunement. As we pay close attention to the experiences unfolding in the mind and body, we foster intimacy with ourselves. This has a very practical benefit. We become increasingly able to recognize stress and agitation starting to smolder inside before it reaches full strength adrenaline conflagration. We detect a wisp of smoke and know a fire is in the making and use this as a signal to practice. We don't wait until the house is in flames. Think of mindful walking as emotional rescue, a practice we use when we're hanging on by a thread on an emotional cliff. And as our self awareness grows, we can identify places and situations we know are frequently challenging or likely to be so, and can plan ahead to bring awareness into those settings. It's like boosting your immunity to stress by taking a mindfulness supplement. Outside the staff meeting room for the manager, the ICU unit for the nurse, the classroom aisles for the high school teacher, or the bedroom hallway for the parent of teenagers, anywhere conflict and pressure are likely to arise, mindfulness can be drawn upon. One parent of a teen described, I'm going to add something right here because, this is YouTube. The spaces on YouTube that cause you to be angry and drop down into chats and say terrible, vile things to other people, you should practice mindfulness and stay in the clouds or stay in the bushes. It's okay to keep your opinions to yourself. Be mindfulness on these YouTube streets, highways, and byways, everybody. Like, just be mindful. The energy you put out into the universe, even the YouTube universe, it kind of boomerangs. It will come back to you. One parent and content creators, when you turn on your mics, be mindful. The energy you put out into the universe on your microphone, it will boomerang and come right back to you. One parent of a teen describes a practice of walking mindfully in place with his legs under the dinner table during intense family moments when actual walking isn't an option. A woman who struggles with overeating uses mindful walking in the aisles of the supermarket to help her make wise choices. And you guys are armed with the knowledge from our book we finished yesterday with Dr. Edie about eating to live. So add those together. Walk mindfully, grocery shop mindfully. Listen, we working on our minds, our bodies, and our spirits collectively. All of this is wrapped together. These are not individual pieces. All of this makes us up into who we are. Mindfulness. Many professional athletes, performers, and executives are leveraging the steady influence of mindfulness practices. Consider where your pressure vortexes are and plan to use mindful walking there to bring a little patience, compassion, and perspective to yourself in challenging moments. Your students, children, and coworkers will silently thank you, as will your adrenal glands. Routines of mindful walking. Take a moment to reflect on places you frequently walk through. Make a list of 5 to 10 places, from home to the metro, from your parking spot to the office door, from the dining room to the kitchen. If you take the time to write them down, it will help establish a link between these places and mindful walking practices. Now, review your list of places and for each one, close your eyes for a few moments and imagine yourself walking mindfully there. Visualize yourself hurrying to the metro and feel what it will feel like as you drop into a content, spacious, observing state during that walk. Generate those feelings in your body now as you imagine this moment of mindfulness on the sidewalk. This will generate a kind of placebo effect. As you suspend disbelief for this exercise, make the experience of having a peaceful mind state and the pleasant feelings that you like to come with it as real as possible. On some level, your body will experience this as real, as when someone is giving a sugar pill, but it's told it's medication. Studies have shown again and again that the body often reacts as if something is real if we think it's real. That's why a scary thought about a large, poisonous spider elicits feelings of revulsion. The body reacts as if the imagined situation is real. Here is an experience of peacefulness. Here an experience of peacefulness becomes real, and we link it to the place you walk. It makes mindfulness and those feelings more accessible to your next walk. You don't have to do all the work of integrating mindful walking into your wider life. The places on your list will now support you. You've imbued them with mindful awareness and good feelings, and you're unlikely to walk them again unconsciously. It just takes a little remembering. Labeling the 5 hindrances. An important bit of information to bring on any mindful walk is about the obstacles we unavoidably meet. There are 5 common ones called the 5 hindrances, and they are desire, which is wanting pleasure, aversion, which is the dislike of what's unpleasant, doubt, which is judging thoughts, which undermine the practice, heaviness and dullness. heaviness of the body and dullness of the mind, and restlessness, agitation that makes practice difficult. The simplest way not to be swept away by these hindrances is to label them clearly. The labeling solidifies mindfulness. Imagine walking mindfully on a summer day in a park. All is well until you notice someone eating ice cream. Desire grips you. You haven't had dessert in too long. Can I just relax with the treat and not work so hard on mindful walking? Imagine placing a small sticky note on the feeling of wanting, which says simply desire. Continuing, you meet a group of people smoking cigarettes and talking loudly. The smoke and noise disturbs you. Do they really have to be here now? So annoying. Create a sticky and apply it. A version. You're not quite so fully in its grips now. On another walk, thoughts calling the value of practice into question keep looping. I've got more important things to do, like getting things done. This mindful walking is preventing me from taking action, but you smell a rat and grab your sticky note and write doubt. On other days, the walk just feels tiresome, like slogging through mud. The body is heavy and the mind lifeless. It feels like too much effort. I can't do it anymore. The dramatic tone of thought catches your mindful observer, and a heaviness and dullness sticky is applied. At other times, you're beset by agitation, wanting to escape at all costs, crawling out of your skin. You label it and remember just to feel. This is what restlessness feels like, you say quietly inside. In the clutches of craving. When walking the slippery tightrope of desire, for example, the path to the refrigerator, even a few seconds of mindful awareness can help us realize that we are on a collision course. Taking mindful steps as we approach the gates of nirvana, the noticing brain switches on. We are better able to assess the accuracy of thoughts that insist, must have ice cream now. A little mindfulness when walking to the fridge provides just enough objectivity to discern whether survival does, in fact, depend on fulfilling our desire immediately, as the craving will have us believe. I have to be mindful. Listen, y'all. So I have my kids have their own kitchen, and I have my own kitchen. Got two kitchens, right? I have to go past their kitchen to go into the basement where my kitchen area is. Child, their kitchen area has all of the snacks and the chips and the this and the that. I literally have to be mindful when I walk through their space because the greedy girl in me, girl, I be wanting some Doritos every time I walk past. And I just be like, girl, that is not necessary. That is not going to help your body. It's not fuel for your body. It is junk and it is trash. And I'm not going to act like I don't pick on they snacks periodically because I do. But it's a struggle. I have to fight my inner girl on the inside and be like, girl, you can't have that. Go down, go get your apple, go get you some watermelon, go get you some vegetables and leave they stuff alone. It is a struggle. Some brain researchers refer to this effect of mindfulness as mixing some cool brain into the hot brain. MRI studies demonstrate brain areas associated with clear perception and skillfulness active during mindfulness, balancing the urgency of reactive brain functions. All right. There is a chart here that tells us fighting addiction. There is a growing body of behavioral research on the positive effects of mindfulness based approaches to craving and addiction. Mindful walking strengthens capacities that researchers believe are helpful in understanding and overcoming addiction, including experiential engagement. This is the willingness to remain in contact with unpleasant thoughts, feelings, and experiences rather than avoiding them through addictive substances or addictive behaviors, such as compulsively checking your email. I'm guilty. I'm guilty. I really do compulsively check my email, y'all. Oh, awareness and acceptance. This is of thoughts, feelings, and sensations as they arise without trying to alter or suppress them. Non judgmental perception, viewing discomfort and ourselves with less judgment, which reduces emotional reactivity. Compassion, the capacity to bring loving attention to our own distress. This is part of learning to self soothe in healthier ways. Recognition of impermanence, knowing cravings are temporary and allowing them to come and go without responding. I think this is something that we all are guilty of. I'm going to read this one again. Recognition of impermanence, knowing cravings are temporary and allowing them to come and go without responding. Learning says, I am the opposite. I have to remind my child, listen, I got like 4 or 5 different emails. I got work. Now I got 2 works until the end of the day today, then I can let them go. Then I still have my personal, then I have my YouTube, I have my old dance studios, and then I'm nosy. I be in my kids' emails too. I check their stuff. Don't tell them no. They know, but they don't tell them. I'm still a mother. Still mama. I gotta be all up in your business. I give you your space, but I gotta check yours too. So, girl, I be all in the emails. Insight into cause and effect. The only thing I don't really check is DMs. Y'all, I stay away from the Instagram DMzations of it all. I be seeing the drama and the fallout behind these YouTube creators and all of these DMs they be passing back and forth. Chile. No, baby. I don't have time for that. I can't. Mm-mm. I don't do the DMs at all. And if somebody DM me and they be DM, girl, you will get blocked. I will not respond and I will not read it periodically at all. No, no, no. I don't do that. All right. But emails, okay, 2 more. Insight into cause and effect. This is recognizing destructive and futile aspects of behavioral patterns rather than denying them. And then the last one is an internal source of well being. Instead of seeking affirmation or distraction externally, which underpins addiction. All right, this is our last chapter in the book. Yay! We made it. I'm so excited, y'all, because I was so nervous about not finishing the stuff I started this summer, which frees up a day for me to probably finish the John Lewis book. And then the other book, the Gentle Woman, I'm gonna move that one to the weekends because next week it's over. It's over for me next week. So I'm excited, y'all. I'm gonna finish my books. Yay! Girl, these DMs, I don't even understand. And then the people still keep DMing each other. I was like, the best way to stop all of this back and forth, just just stay out of people's DMs. Like, just stay out of it. If you stay out of people's DMs, they can't pull you into their drama. But you know what though, Learning? I think people want the drama. I think they like the drama that comes with all of that, right? Like you participate in it because you want the smoke. Period. And you know what I'm saying? Like, or you collecting bones because there's so many bone carriers out here. You just collecting receipts until you need to drop them on somebody one day. I don't understand none of that. Like, child, what happened to y'all growing up? Did you not get enough attention at home that you got to come on YouTube for it? Girl, make it make sense. It just don't. Girl, but learning. You already know I will watch it. I am guilty. I am guilty. I'm guilty. I be watching. Girl, they do. They do. They don't want peace. They don't want peace. They be lying. They get on here and say, girl, they act like politicians in real life. You know how the politicians get in front of you on camera and they say one thing, girl, and then they get with each other behind the scenes and they conspire. Okay, you gonna make these people mad. I'm gonna make these people mad, and then we gonna come together and we gonna cause all this drama and we gonna get paid for it. That's what they be doing, girl. Like literally, I be watching it like this is nothing but political YouTube. It's just political drama and it's just brought to the YouTube space. And it's all for clicks and views. And you know what I'm saying? That they just like the smoke and the drama and all of it. And they do not want peace. Record girl, how you got time to keep recording people? Like who has this kind of time? Girl, they be recording people and then they be turning into other people, girl. They be having like 4 or 5 different accounts. Like, girl, my brain would explode. But I do watch. It's my soap opera. I used to watch The Young and the Restless and all of that kind of stuff and growing up with my big mama, girl. This is the new version. That's all. This is YouTube is the new soap opera of life. Then it become yeah, I do get overwhelmed. Then I have to unsubscribe. I'll be like, okay, I can't watch you no more. I can't get notifications because it's too much. But I can watch for a certain amount of time. What I do appreciate are the spaces that I get to go for the summarizations of it all. Because you don't have to necessarily know all the ins and outs because it would be too much to try to keep up with all of the drama, right? But like when you can go to certain places and just get a nice little quick recap of the foolishness, that helps me. Like, girl, I don't even understand who half these people are because I don't watch them. But the foolery of it all, it is entertaining to say the least. Entertaining. All right. Our final essay, maintaining mindfulness. For mindful walking and its benefits to flourish in your life, you'll need to nurture a lifestyle that's conducive to contemplative practice. These days, the primary challenge is creating a moderate relationship with electronic devices so that you're using them without them using you. Digital devices tend to work at cross purposes with being mindful. With their endless menus and options, which feed the mind's tendency to consume and wonder, there's no need to throw away all your devices, delete social media accounts, and become a burlap wearing monk. The goal is to engage wisely, enjoying their benefits, but knowing their limitations and challenges too. To successfully integrate mindful walking into your routines, it may help to find regular times to turn off devices, if only for short periods. Going off the digital grid for even a small amount of time can feel challenging, but it brings the reward of a balanced mind and moderate lifestyle, what the Buddha called the middle path. The little things of a big thing. Maintaining a lifestyle that supports self awareness and mindfulness happens or not in the small things we do. Compassionately but honestly examine your habits and choices, identifying what feeds distraction and unnecessary multitasking. Girl, they talking to me right now. I am the queen of the multitasking. This is what I do and how I live my life. Child, that is the organized chaos of me. Reflect on your relationships with caffeine, sugar, and alcohol, and whether they play a role in avoiding being entirely present. And we know that they do because Dr. Edie has already told us those things, caffeine, sugar, and alcohol, are not meant to help you. They are not mindful. If you have not read or listened to me read the How to Eat and Live Longer book by Dr. Edie, please check it out for yourself. It's on Amazon and it is also on my Elevation Station playlist. There's no requirement to give up these intoxicants, but mindfulness will be supported by using them in what's the word? Moderation. Our electronic devices can also have a drug like quality. Examine your relationship with them, including whether you frequently use a device while driving, shopping, eating a meal, or talking with people. To examine such habits requires and supports flexibility of mind and builds the capacity to look deeply and perceive cause and effect relationships. Some of the key skills of mindfulness. It's also part of cultivating a lifestyle of awareness and wise relationships. Mindful living, bit by bit. To support being present, try the following: eat breakfast without listening to the radio or looking at a device. One day a week or month, skip your usual cup of coffee, tea, or alcoholic drink. Before starting to eat, pause for 10 to 15 seconds to appreciate the food and invoke mindfulness in eating. Drive a few minutes in your car or on the bus before switching on the radio or device. Go for a walk without your phone. Leave your phone in the car or silence it when shopping. Don't bring electronic devices to the dinner table. Light a candle instead to symbolize a natural, steady presence. Notice what the food tastes like and discuss it with your fellow diners. Wonder about something without immediately searching for the answer online. Navigate a short trip by memory or map rather than voice prompted GPS directions. Preparing a meal, use the activities of chopping, measuring, and cooking as opportunities for mindful awareness. These, excuse me, these little things done repeatedly become a big thing in one's life. The practice of cultivating wisdom. Wisdom is the result of the three progressive stages of meditation, and it becomes a rewarding aspect of our ongoing practice of mindful walking. Buddhist teacher Jack Kornfield writes, when we shift attention from experience to spacious consciousness that knows, wisdom arises. To do this, we bring attention to the spacious nature of the observing mind itself. This spaciousness is the quality of the mind that's like the vast sky through which birds, weather, and other objects move. Like the sky, it's an undisturbed and limitless presence in the mind. Connecting to it, we are knowing the mind in its ideal qualities: open, non grasping, and non judgmental. Wisdom is the natural byproduct of bringing awareness to this spaciousness. It's not to be confused with knowledge or arrogance, and we don't think of it as my wisdom. That would be an ego trip. We humbly experience it as an inherent gift of the mind that has become increasingly balanced and clear through mindfulness practice. Once we get a glimpse of wisdom, we bring attention to it frequently as a growing source of insight and perspective. When facing life challenges for which there is no ready solution, we often feel solace by releasing the problem into the spaciousness of the observing mind, knowing that simply regarding the problem with wisdom is the best way to hold it skillfully for now. Observing with wisdom. Call to mind a life difficulty for which there is no current resolution, such as a friend who has become distant or uncommunicative. Close your eyes. Bless you. My son just sneezed. Bless you. I don't know if y'all can hear that. Close your eyes. Breathe slowly and soften your face and shoulders. Bring attention to the open, abundant quality of your mind, which is like a large, empty vessel. Imagine releasing the difficult issue into this space, gently placing it there in your mind. There is no shortage of space for the problem to settle into. Allow the wisdom in your mind to observe it calmly, knowing there is nothing to do with it for now, but witness it and allow it to be what it is. All right, happy all day. Have a good day. Talk to you or see you later, boo. Be blessed. The stuff of mindful living. The habits of mindful walking and mindful living are largely cognitive. They are internal and they are invisible. One of the challenges when trying to make the practice consistent is the rather intangible nature of it. It happens in the head. At times, we may not be sure if we're mindful or not when walking. Other times, we may simply forget the practice. One way to address this is to create concrete reminders of the practice and the mindful state we're cultivating. The symbols, trinkets, and shortkeys of mindfulness are frequently misappropriated as tacky cliches. There is a restaurant in Pennsylvania with huge Buddha statues at the entrance called Buddha Martini Bar. Talk about a paradox. Visiting India, one can't miss ubiquitous signs of contemplative practice, devotion, and spirituality in the public domain. Each tiny three-wheeled taxi has a miniature altar, usually with burning incense on the dashboard. Images of spirituality and depictions of deities are nearly everywhere. Stupa structures representing Buddha like consciousness appear in many vistas, even in remote mountain areas. They are all reminders of practice. They are there to support whoever sees them. You can support your practice with similar visible reminders without building a temple in your front yard or getting a third eye tattoo on your forehead. A bracelet around the wrist, a candle in a special place, a meditation book, cushion, or blanket, perhaps a "You're not really selfless, I am" t shirt, or the "I'd rather be here now" bumper sticker. Or you might simply tie a special knot in your shoelaces to remind yourself of practice each time you lace your shoes. Let it be playful. Practice should not be a grim duty. After all, the originator of the mindfulness tradition, the Buddha, was called the Happy One. And despite frequent talk of how suffering is created, it's meant to be a happy path. The three refuges on the path. Even though mindfulness is currently enjoying what Andy Warhol called 15 minutes of fame, perhaps even hipness, the path of mindful walking and contemplative lifestyle can sometimes still be a lonely one. The practice flies in the face of what much of Western culture tells us is the path to happiness, and we can feel like we're swimming against the stream. It's all too easy to head out for some mindful walking and find yourself in line at Starbucks, taking the short and sweet route to happiness. In many ways, the backbone of the practice is the willingness to stay engaged with things that are uncomfortable, and that's not easy. It's even harder to try to do it in isolation. Since it's not an entirely easy path, we need support along the way. Mindfulness teachings point us to three main sources of support, sometimes called the refuges. We'll call these awareness, truth, and community. When discouragement, doubt, laziness, or the seductive song of the grand latte strikes, we seek refuge in the three supports: awareness, truth, and community. Conclusion: why we walk. The American philosopher and naturalist Henry D. Thoreau wrote in his 1862 essay, Walking, that he rarely met someone who understood the art of walking, who had a genius, so to speak, for sauntering. He traces the etymology of sauntering to sans terre, meaning without land or a home or having no particular home, but equally at home everywhere. For this is the secret of successful sauntering. Being equally at home everywhere is the essence of mindful walking. It speaks to another of the paradoxes on this path, doing mindful walking. Our goal is a way of being. We walk to cultivate mindfulness, a sense of being at ease and at home inside of ourselves, wherever we are, whatever is happening. We're at home everywhere because we carry home a sense of well being with us. Child, I needed to have read this before I got on that Frontier Airlines. This view stretches us because it requires us to let go of the idea that peace or happiness is a thing or place only found somewhere in the world, and life is a search for it. The mindful path is ultimately a labyrinth leading inward to the center of who we are. But the path leads not to a place, rather to a way of being in a place. To find this place that's not a place in ourselves, we need nothing except wakefulness of your mind. If we sleepwalk, we'll miss it. Awakening is the flash of insight that our true home is a way of being in any place. And what's more, in our own mind and body. Each time we walk mindfully, it's a dawn of something new, a new way of seeing ourselves and the world around us. Mindful awareness shines bright not only on anything, but in a process continually unfolding, and there is always more to discover. As Thoreau wrote in the last lines of Walden, his masterpiece on simplicity and living each moment, only the day dawns to which we are awake. There is more day to dawn. The sun is but a morning star. Conclusion. Each walk a pilgrimage. On the paths to Mecca and Santiago de Compostela, and around Mount Kalish in Tibet, people walk on great spiritual quests. Some devotees of Tibetan Buddhism walk several years to attend a ceremonial gathering led by the Dalai Lama. The most dedicated pause to touch their foreheads to the ground after each single step, embodying remarkable devotion. Most of us may never have such exotic experiences of single minded intention, but we can make any walk a pilgrimage by dedicating it to an ideal we hold dear. A pilgrimage is a journey infused with an intention that transcends mundane goals, nurturing our higher self. Such a walk can be in a new or familiar place, and the possible intentions are limitless. It may be to connect with the healing power of nature, to care for the soul, to honor a loss or transition, to embrace mystery, to seek clarity about a decision, to affirm that we are safe in the body and mind, no matter what we feel, to stop running from what we have been trying to avoid, to claim our power, to take action on some difficult issue, or to cultivate patience, acceptance, forgiveness, or generosity. A walk taken with intention reinforces mindfulness. Such walks are a pilgrimage in the service of insight, wisdom, and clear awareness. As you set out, pause and close your eyes, focusing your mind on the intention you wish to bring to fruition. Commit to the intention of your pilgrimage fully, letting it be strengthened and discovered anew with each touch of foot to ground. We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. Thank you all for being here and for helping me and hopefully yourself understand and become one with mindful walking and mindful living. I love you. Have a blessed day and a blessed weekend.